The new tensions between Washington and Tehran on this Sunday. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani announcing his country will continue producing and testing those ballistic missiles. That days after Congress voted for new sanctions against Iran's ballistic missile program. You know, Iran also denies the program breaches any international agreements, and they say it is not violating the Iranian nuclear deal or United Nations Security Council sanctions. So, is that true? Let's bring in former United Nations Ambassador John Bolton, Fox News contributor, senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, and chairman of the Gatestone Institute here in New York. I mean, man, oh man, Ambassador, Iran really remains defiant, and this is with the nuclear deal.
Sure, and why shouldn't they be? They got one of the sweetest deals in the history of diplomatic annals, and they're not going to back away from it now. Let me just clarify one thing on the missile side. You know, UN Security Council Resolution 2231 has in it two annexes. One is the nuclear deal. The other is the statement by the 5 permanent members of the Council in Germany on Iran's missile and other non-nuclear weapons issues. That document, that second annex, Annex B, was negotiated out to Iran's satisfaction simultaneously with the nuclear deal. They're equal parts of the same bargain. And in fact, they're part with a third deal, remember, the money for American hostages deal that was also negotiated at the same time. So anybody who says, well, but this doesn't violate the nuclear deal, as many advocates here in this country do, are just examining the reality. And what it shows is the effort to try and keep the nuclear part of the deal in place while Iran is merrily violating significant provisions, not only of the nuclear deal, but the others as well, demonstrate how ridiculous this whole affair is. Iran is a rogue state. It has been. It still is.
Merrily violating, as you say. Let's take a look at the exact language. The first, 1929, which was passed in 2010, says Iran should not undertake any activity related to ballistic missiles capable of delivering nuclear weapons, including launches using ballistic missile technology. That seems pretty clear. And you just mentioned a Security Council 2231. It says this: Iran is called upon not to undertake any activity related to ballistic missiles designed to be capable of delivering nuclear weapons. You know, by the way, called upon is like a pretty please, including launches using such ballistic missile technology until the date 8 years after JCPOA adoption day. JCPOA is the deal. Adoption day was October 18, 2015. So by that agreement, on October 19, 2023, they get a green light to develop a nuclear weapon with nuclear ballistic missiles.
Right. Well, let me come back to that. But let's go back to a phrase in that last provision that you just read. And I don't mean to sound like we're in law school parsing contracts, but it says no ballistic missiles designed to carry nuclear warheads. A clear example, as I'll show here in a second, of how badly drafted this agreement is from the American point of view. What Iran says is, oh, my goodness, our rockets aren't designed to carry nuclear weapons, as if it matters to the rocket part of the missile what's in the nose cone, a balloon, a basketball, or a nuclear weapon. And Iran says, you know, of course they're not designed to carry nuclear weapons because, after all, we don't have a nuclear weapons program. I mean, this is the kind of thing that, that really just makes a mockery out of the idea that this deal is in America's interest. But on the end date for the provisions of the deal, and this point applies to the nuclear deal as well, it's not the end date that's a problem. It's the flaws in the deal and the enforcement of the deal. Let's not forget, Iran is also a party to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which commits it not to seek or possess nuclear weapons. The reason we need this deal at all, in theory, is because Iran has been violating the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty for 25 years or more, just like it's violating this deal. It doesn't matter how many pieces of paper the Iranian regime engages in. They're going to have this nuclear weapons program until they get the capability that North Korea is on the verge of getting right now.
That is, and you talk about the North Korean similarity. The Iranian opposition, the National Council of Resistance of Iran, Maryam Rajavi is the head of that. They issued this statement that says, in part, about this: the clerical regime has devoted a significant budget to its program, while the majority of the Iranian people live below the poverty line. This program is solely for the regime's survival and is against the prime interests of the Iranian people. The clerical regime is spending billions of dollars on its missile program. Do you have any doubt, Ambassador, that spending billions of dollars is not unintended to produce a nuclear weapon?
Well, they know exactly what they're doing, and let's not forget, Iran and North Korea have been working together for 25 years, if not more, from the time that North Korea sold Iran the first Scud missiles. They're both using the same Soviet-era missile technology as they develop and advance their missile capabilities. They're both using the uranium enrichment program that they purchased respectively from AQ Khan, the great Pakistani nuclear proliferator. They're both using the same nuclear weapons design, also purchased in both cases from AQ Khan. I mean, these two nuclear and missile programs are really two sides of the same coin.
And finally, quickly, to stop Iran, is it even possible?
Well, I think it is, but I think continuing this nuclear deal, which we're now sort of in a slow death march with, isn't going to do it. As long as Iran has this deal, it's in Fat City.
Fat City for Iran. Ambassador John Bolton, thank you for being with us. You're with us every Sunday. Really always appreciate it.
Thank you, Eric.
Of course.